A bold move. Australia risks U.S. ire to recognize Palestine, but will it spark real change? Imagine a region where nearly 12,000 children under 5 face acute malnutrition and over 2 million people teeter on the brink of famine. Welcome to Gaza, where the humanitarian crisis has reached catastrophic proportions. In a surprising yet calculated move, Australia has decided to formally recognize the state of Palestine at the United Nations General Assembly in September, joining a growing chorus of Western nations, including France and Canada, with the UK potentially following suit. But what drives this decision, and will it truly alter the status quo in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? A shift in Australia's stance, breaking with traditional U.S. alignment. For decades, Australia has closely aligned its Middle East foreign policy with that of the United States. However, with the announcement by centre-left Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, Australia is charting an independent course, potentially straining its relationship with its closest security partner. The U.S., a staunch supporter of Israel, has criticized countries recognizing a Palestinian state, accusing them of rewarding Hamas for its attacks on Israel. Albanese counters with assurances from the Palestinian Authority that Hamas will play no role in the eventual state. The humanitarian imperative, a catalyst for change. At the heart of Australia's decision lies the escalating humanitarian crisis in Gaza. With the Israeli government's actions sparking widespread international condemnation, the situation has become a moral imperative for many nations. Albanese emphasized, a two-state solution is humanity's best hope to break the cycle of violence in the Middle East and to bring an end to the conflict, suffering, and starvation in Gaza. The plight of emaciated children and the deliberate withholding of aid have galvanized public opinion, pushing governments to act. Expert insights, navigating the complex web of international politics. Martin Keir, a sessional lecturer at the University of Sydney, sheds light on the motivations behind Australia's move. There's been a groundswell of support, not just within Australia, but within the international community, that things needed to change, Keir notes, highlighting the systematic human rights abuses and the need for extra pressure on Israel to recognize the two-state solution. He also points out that Labour governments have historically taken independent foreign policy stances, differing from the U.S. when necessary. The role of domestic pressure and international coordination. Keir suggests that domestic political pressure, coupled with a sense of strength in numbers among Western democracies, has played a significant role in Australia's decision. The persistent popular mobilization and disapproval towards Israel's actions in Gaza have influenced the government's stance. Additionally, France's leadership in recognizing a Palestinian state has provided diplomatic cover, encouraging other nations to follow suit. A cynical view, mitigating criticisms without substantive change. One might argue that this move is, in part, an effort to defuse criticisms of being too slow to condemn Israel's actions, without necessarily altering the situation on the ground. Keir acknowledges this possibility, stating, "This is a way of governments saying, we understand your distress, we're responding to that. But what happens next?" The challenge lies in making tangible progress towards a two-state solution, especially considering the complexities of involving Hamas in the process. The way forward, inclusion, legitimacy, and the elusive peace, for a lasting resolution. Making Hamas part of the solution rather than the problem is crucial. Excluding them risks repeating past mistakes as seen in Iraq and Afghanistan. The path ahead is fraught with challenges, but one thing is clear. The international community's increased pressure on Israel, coupled with a unified stance on recognizing Palestine, might just be the catalyst needed to reignite meaningful negotiations and hopefully pave the way to peace. Now it's your turn. Share your thoughts. Do you believe recognizing Palestine will significantly impact the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? How crucial is the inclusion of Hamas in the peace process? Share your opinions on the potential repercussions for Australia and the international community. Join the conversation in the comments below.